Hey everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. My name is Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. Today I wanted to show you how I made a card. It's kind of like a Z-fold card. But I first saw this on a blog hop a few weeks ago. It was shared by Pat Fairless, so thank you very much because I really love this. So it looks a lot like a Z-fold or a Z-fold card, but when you open it up, there's a little bit of a surprise inside, and that's the kind of fun part of it. I am using the new One Horse Open Sleigh suite that is available starting July 6th as an online exclusive. It's amazing, love it. The paper is absolutely stunning. And the horse and sleigh is so much fun, and it fits perfectly into this. It's got a gatefold and a belly band, and so this horse and sleigh fit perfectly on the belly band. All right, let me switch over, and we will get started. All right, so here is the card. I'll bring it up. So it looks kind of like just a gatefold card, in this case with a belly band. This is that. So this is the horse and sleigh, of course. And then, the paper is stunning. So I've got, and I don't know if you can see the little snowflakes are part. There are snowflake embellishments. When you open up this card, it kind of pops up. So it's got some extra folds in it, and it just kind of creates a really pretty scene on the inside of the card as well. So I'll show you how I made it. Let me bring in the bundle. So this is the horse and sleigh bundle. Again, it will be available starting July 6th in my online store. And it's just so fun. So this is the horse and sleigh. Now these images are at 80%, so they actually are quite a bit bigger than the images. And you will find that really you need to be making landscape cards for this horse and sleigh to fit across. Unless you find a way, I guess you could cut it and split it up. So there are stamps for the trees, this winter hare, and the horse and sleigh. And then, of course, you've got the dies to cut those out. Some pretty sentiments. And then you've got some snow, some trees. And there are a couple of other dies that I'm using. One will go along this edge of the sleigh, and the other one is for the runners. So I've already got this cut out of the distress gold because I just really like the look of the distress gold against the colored horse and sleigh. All right, let's get started. Let's put back. Okay, so I need my trimmer. Now I'm using Misty Moonlight. So the first piece that you need, I've got my measurements kind of here so I can see them. The first piece you need is a piece of cardstock that is 4 1/4 by 11. And we are going to score this at 2 3/4, 5 inches, 6 inches, and then 8 1/4. Now, if you miss any of the measurements, they will be in the blog post that will be underneath this video. So if you miss any of the measurements, just hop over to my blog and you'll be able to get the measurements and the written instructions for the card. Okay, so we've got our card base. Grab your bone folder. And this is the side I scored on. This is the raised line. So we're going to fold into the mountain or into the raised line. So we're going to fold our 2 outside flaps. So these are the 2 3/4 and 8 1/4 inch flaps. So those are going to fold to the inside. So that creates your kind of standard card base. And then with this 2 score lines in the middle, this is at the 5 and the 6, we're going to pop those up. So we're going to create kind of a W, but it's got a flat center to it. So you can take your bone folder and just burnish those kind of separately. All right, so there's our card. Again, looks like a W with a flat part instead of a kind of a mountain peak. So that's your card. Okay, so Now let's bring in, there's a fair number of pieces to this before we get to the belly band. So we'll get that all done first. So you need, now I double layered, as did Pat, double layered the designer series paper. So that's the measurements I'm giving you. So this is the designer series paper. So you need 4 pieces of basic white that are 2.5 by 4. And then you need 3 pieces of designer series paper. And I've just taken and cut these all from the same piece. So it kind of makes a pattern. I can't remember how this actually goes, but I think that's the edge. I think it's like that. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, so maybe it's like that. So these two of them are going on the front of the card, and one's going to go on the inside. So that's those. So again, 4 pieces of basic white that are 2.5 by 4, and 3 pieces of designer series paper that are 2 inches by 4 inches. So that designer series paper would be all the same pattern. Then you need 2 pieces of basic white that are 2 inches by 4 inches, and then 2 pieces of designer series paper that are 1 7/8 by 3 7/8. So I've used, this is one of them, and this has got some stripes. And then a piece of basic white that is 3/4 of an inch by 4, and designer series paper, and I'm using the same pattern, you don't have to, as the ones that I previously cut, 5/8 of an inch by 3 7/8. So those can all be glued down. So let's kind of start by getting these glued. Really isn't a complicated card to put together, because you're just really creating a bunch of layers. So once you've got your paper, your designer series paper, and your cardstock cut, yeah, it's pretty easy to put together. So that will go there. And then, so these are for the inside of the card, the middle of the inside of the card. Again, if you missed any of those measurements, hop over to my blog using the link below this video, and you will be able to find them. This paper is so pretty. It kind of reminds me of the Feels Like Frost, although the Feels Like Frost was, I think, actual pictures. This is kind of paintings, drawings, and so it is so pretty. You're going to want to grab an extra package of this when you put your order in. So these are available as an online exclusive starting July 6th, 2023, depends on when you're watching this video, but July 6th, 2023. And if during July, starting on the 6th of July, it's bonus days. So you would be able to get, for every $60 Canadian, you would get a coupon or a bonus promo code that you would be able to use in August. So every $60, you get a $6 coupon. Okay, so that small piece goes in the middle, and then these 2 other pieces are going to go on either side. I have been having so much fun. You could check out some of my other blog posts with this. I made a vintage card that went live earlier this week. Okay. All right, so now let's figure out what we want on the front. And I think what I'm going to do, don't think it matters. Okay, so I think those 2 are going to go on the front, and the other one I'll put on the inside of the card. I love early espresso with Misty Moonlight or any kind of blue. It just seems to go so nicely together. This is quite a thick card because we cut it double layered, double matted. So this one goes on the inside of the card and on the left-hand flap. And then this one's going to go on here. Before we actually put that down, we're going to stamp something. What are we going to stamp? If I could find my ink pen, here it is. We are going to stamp in Early Espresso one of the trees. We use this tree. Kind of looks like a willow tree without leaves on it. So we're going to just stamp that just right on the right-hand side using Early Espresso. Close that up. And now we can adhere that to the right-hand flap. You can put a sentiment on there if you want. We're actually going to put a sentiment across here. Okay, so that's our card base pretty much put together. We're going to do a little bit of decorating in just a minute, but let's start working on the horse and sleigh. So I've got a piece of basic white. Now I'm going to color this with blends. So I'm stamping my horse and sleigh using Memento. It's quite a big stamp, so you could ink it up from the top if you wanted to. Hopefully I can get it. I think my tuxedo black is quite juicy. So you can see how big this image is, and how if I just lay it across here, it pretty much covers the whole front of the card. Okay, so let's do some coloring. So on my original card, if I bring that in, I'll just bring the belly band in. I did this sleigh in real red. So I've got my real red. So when I color blends, first of all, always have a piece of grid paper or something underneath. Don't have your card base or any of your layers for your card, because the blends are alcohol markers and they will seep through. Just use a piece of grid paper or scrap paper when you're coloring with the blends. This isn't the same as the markers. The markers don't seep through like this. Okay, so that's the light, and then I'm just going to take and just kind of go around the edge in the dark, just to give it a little bit of blending. And then just kind of go over that with the light. Okay, there we go. So there is our sleigh done. Now you can color these however you want. I just thought the hat's being red, maybe his mitts are red, and then I've got some Misty Moonlight, so we'll do the jacket in Misty Moonlight. Not much blending on these, really. I'm just using the blends as markers. Okay. Now on my original one, I did the blanket in red. I've got some lemon lolly that I thought I would just do his pom-pom in. And I think I will do just in light, the light real red, the blankets. You could use another color, but I'm just kind of sticking to my red and Misty Moonlight. There we go. Okay, and then the horse I've got in Smoky Slate. So like I said, I always go over the whole thing in light. So this is the light Smoky Slate. We're going to cut this out, so I'm just kind of going quickly, especially with the light, because I'm going to go back over it. I'm going to add some dark to it to give it some detail, do some blending. It's a big enough image that you could do some blending on the horse. So I like to lay down a layer. I know you don't have to do that. You could go in with your dark first. I just for me find that I get a better coverage, and I'm able to blend better if I go over it. If I start with the light and then go over it with dark and then go back over it with the light. That's me. Don't think there's a right and a wrong way to, so we'll just kind of give them some shadowing here. And then we'll go again, just lightly go over it. It kind of just blends it out a little bit. There we go. All right, so now we're going to take and cut that out using our die. I'm going to use a piece of Post-it note tape because it's a big die and I don't want it to shift as you run it through. So we'll just put that on and I will take it over here, run it through. Right, there we go. So we've got our horse and sleigh all cut out. Now I went ahead before and cut out, first of all, I put some adhesive sheets on the back of this Distressed Gold designer series paper, specialty paper. And I've got the two dies. So the adhesive sheets just make it so much easier to stick your detail on. So one of these, this swoop is the kind of the detail on the top of the sleigh, and then these are the runners on the sleigh. So we'll poke those out. Now I ran this through a couple of times because it's got the adhesive sheets, the sheet behind, and I find that it just okay, let's use our Take Your Pick tool. It just comes out easier and it cuts right through the adhesive sheet too if you run it through a couple of times. Okay, there we go. So now I'm just lifting up the backing on my, oops, part of the backing. It was in multiple pieces, so let's get the rest of it off if I can. There we go. Okay. So this goes on these runners of the sleigh. Just makes it look very cool with the gold. And hopefully that hasn't frozen, but there we go. I don't know if that froze, but hopefully not. So there we go. There's the runners. Now this little swoop goes on the top of the sleigh down to the, goes like that. So it's a little fiddly little piece. So again, I've got some of the adhesive sheet behind it. You can use liquid glue. I don't like getting glue on my fingers, and so sometimes I forget and don't put, I forget about the adhesive sheets until after I've got these little tiny pieces cut. So I do use liquid glue, but today I remembered. Now this is, like I said, it's fiddly, and it will kind of bend, and kind of, you have to kind of form it back into its original shape. And it just kind of goes down the edge. A bump there, there we go. It goes down the edge of the sleigh, oopsie, like that. So we've got gold on the runners and gold on the edge of the sleigh. Okay, so that, we're getting there. We want to do some sentiments. So I'm going to do some sentiments in real red. So I'm going to do this one that says, wishing you a season of cheer. And then we're going to do, and a happy new year. So we'll do that below. We're going to cut these out, so that's why I'm kind of just stamping them. take your paper snips. You can use a punch, you could use a die if you don't like to fussy cut. This one for the inside, I am just cutting kind of straight lines and making a rectangle. It won't be anything fancy. The one on the front, I'm actually going to do, I'm going to fussy cut it, and I'm going to try and, because I haven't got a lot of real estate here on the front of my card by the time I get my belly band on. So I'm actually going to, like I did on my card, I'm going to cut that into 2 pieces. So let's try and gently do that. And I'm just going to take and fussy cut. So you don't have to. You could make it work and put the whole piece if you wanted to. But it just feels like there's not enough room for me. So okay, so there's wishing you a season of, and then cheer. We will cut out like this. If you follow me, you actually know that I love to fussy cut. So. But I know not everybody does. There we go. Wishing you a season of cheer and a happy new year. Okay, so we're going to use dimensionals for our sentiments. So those can go on, and I think I'm going to use mini dimensionals for this one. It just feels like it needs smaller ones. Okay, so let's do that one there. I'm putting it fairly close to the top because it would go like that, because we're going to make our belly band. Now on the inside of the card, we want to adhere this piece just to that flat surface. So I'm just going to put it in the middle. I'm going to keep it flat, so I'm going to use a little bit of glue, and I'm just going to put it on right onto that middle section where I want it to go. And we'll just put that in the middle. So that way, when this opens up, it opens and comes kind of forward, kind of flies open. And it won't stop the card from closing. Okay, so now we need a belly band. You need a piece of cardstock that is cut 1 inch by 11. And now I didn't, on my original card, I used some designer series paper. I actually didn't cut that for this one. So we're just gonna, you can't hardly see it anyway. So we're just gonna use a plain piece. If you wanna add designer series paper, you would cut a piece that is 3/4 of an inch by 5 1/4, and that will go across. Now, when I make a belly band, I don't score. I just kind of gently fold it around the edge of, or around my card base. It allows me to make it so it's not too tight, and you'll be able to get it on and off. Now, this piece of Misty Moonlight, or this piece of cardstock, is 11 inches, and so you will have a gap. So it's about a 1/8 inch gap. But that's okay. We're going to, if you use designer series paper, you could put that right across and cover up that gap. But I'm using my horse and sleigh to cover up my gap and hold my belly band together. So let's put some, I'm just going to keep it on here. We're going to use dimensionals. And I'm going to put my dimensionals, I'm holding it flat. Let's get some dimensionals off. We're going to use our dimensionals, and we're going to put them right on to the belly band. So let's start with the horse or the sleigh, because this, I know will go like that. Okay, and now we will put that way I can kind of see where the dimensionals need to go. Then if I put them underneath the kind of the belly of the horse, they won't show like that. So again, if you use designer series paper, your gap won't show at all. There we go. Okay, there's our belly band. Keep it down closer to the bottom so it looks like it's kind of going through the forest. And then the last thing that I wanted to add was a couple of trees on the inside of the card. I already went ahead and cut them out. So these are the die cut trees, and they're just, I really like them. And I thought that the inside maybe could just do with a little bit more decoration. I probably should have used some adhesive strips or adhesive sheets on these, but we'll just try and make just a little bit of glue work. So this is going to go, and we're going to tuck that just underneath our, it's just going to go on this piece here, like that. And I've got another one of these trees. Tuck that underneath like that. There we go. All right, close that up. Put our belly band on. The belly band goes on best from the bottom because we've got some, these are sentiments popped up. And the last thing I'm going to do is put on some of these fun snowflakes that are part of the suite and come in copper, gold, and white. So I think because we've got some gold on our, there we go. Looking for my take your pick too. Because we've got some gold on our sleigh, we're going to use some gold snowflakes. There are 3 sizes, so we will, oops, yeah, 3 sizes, and so we'll put a large, with a small, and then a medium one. So these are fun, copper, gold, and white snowflake embellishments that go with the suite. There we go. There is our gatefold with a belly band with a bit of a surprise in the center. Thank you so much to Pat Fairless, who shared this on a recent blog hop I was in, because I really love it. Okay, so again, just get that belly band on. As I said, if you missed any of the measurements as I went through, please check out the blog post. It has all the measurements in it and written instructions for this card, and that will make it a whole lot easier as you follow along with the video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to either if you're coming in through YouTube, or if you find your way over to my blog, you can subscribe to my newsletter or subscribe so you get posts when I do blog posts. Either way, just so you can keep up with what I'm posting and find my projects a little easier. Hope you enjoy it. Don't forget this will be available as of July 6th in my online store, and so if you want it, make sure you get it before it disappears. Online exclusives, we don't actually know how long they're going to be available for. Hopefully this is very popular, and Stampin' Up! Will kind of continue to have it in the online store through the holiday season. All right, everybody, thanks so much for joining me. Hope you have a great day. Happy stamping.